Working the Land by Misha, Ryan, Liam, Shoria, and Mehul. During the 17th century, a massive revolution in farming occurred and is known as the Agricultural Revolution. So this video is all about how that happened and how it shifted the economic foundations of Europe. So if you're ready to get into it, let's get them brain cows milked.
In the mid-17th century, food availability in Europe was at an all-time low due to many factors such as climatic conditions, inefficient methods of farming, and an increase in populations around Europe. Over 80% of the population in Europe drew their livelihood from agriculture. They were tied to plowing fields and sowing seed every single day. The increase of such farmers caused a huge problem, which was soil exhaustion, which significantly lowered farming efficiency. Methods such as crop rotation became an important part of agriculture when people realized they could replenish the soil and could grow food all year round. Clover and potatoes were also important due to them being able to replenish nitrogen in the soil very quickly through their roots. The Dutch Republic pioneered advancements in agriculture, contributing to a surplus of food. The surplus of food caused many cities to skyrocket in population, such as Amsterdam, which went from 30,000 to 200,000. The increase in urban population provided peasants with a market for all they could produce.
One of the biggest events related to agriculture during 1650 to 1800 was the transfer of the open field system to the enclosed field system through the enclosure movement. The enclosure movement was supported by emerging scientists, some government officials, and a few big landowners. Advocates for the enclosure movement sought for agriculturalists to enclose and consolidate their holdings in order to farm more effectively. The enclosure movement made farming more efficient, allowing fewer people to work with higher rates of production, resulting in more people moving to urban areas and getting jobs there, influencing the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. The downside to this was that it would enclose the village's natural pasture land into individual shares, which was unfair to rural people who had inadequate holdings. The enclosure movement was the biggest in England, and the Parliament passed a series of laws from the 1760s to 1815 which enclosed most of the remaining common land.
As well as England, the people in the Netherlands also heavily adopted the enclosed field system, leading to a leadership in farming because of their advanced farming technology. People in France and Germany did not adopt the enclosed field system until as late as the 19th century because peasants were opposing the 18th century efforts to introduce the new techniques. The enclosure in England completed two major developments: the rise of market-oriented estate agriculture and the emergence of a landless rural proletariat, which is the working class. England has the biggest transformation of large numbers of small peasant farmers into landless rural wage earners in all of Europe. Proletarialization is the transformations from being a peasant to a worker under an employer. There were many different developments in agriculture during the 1650s to 1800s. One of the events that fueled developments in agriculture was the Columbian Exchange, which brought potatoes and many types of beans to Europe. This provided nutrients for peasants. The Columbian Exchange also brought more fodder, hay, and root vegetables, which allowed farmers to build up herds for cattle and sheep. This produced more fertilizer, plus meats, plus dairy products.
Born in 1674, Jethro Tull was a pioneering English agriculturalist who challenged traditional farming through observation and evidence-based innovation. One of his major contributions was advocating for horses instead of oxen in plowing, increasing efficiency due to their speed and agility. He also invented the seed drill, a horse-drawn machine that created evenly spaced holes for seeds at the optimal depth, improving crop yields and reducing overcrowding. Selective breeding was another important innovation during this period. Tull selected the strongest horses for farm work, enhancing their suitability for tasks like plowing. Arthur Young, another influential agriculturalist born in 1741, promoted enclosures, which consolidated land into larger, more efficient farms. Though beneficial for productivity, enclosures reduced poor communities' access to farmland, impacting rural livelihoods. Cornelius Vermuyden, a Dutch agriculturalist born in 1595, directed large drainage projects in Yorkshire and Cambridgeshire, transforming 40,000 acres of swamp into fertile farmland, which became a prime farming area in England.
The significance of these developments was great for Europe's future. From the enclosure movement to crop rotations, the English and Low Countries led Europe to a period of agricultural efficiency and a rise of population growth. For the first time, farmers could feed their towns with a surplus of food, leading to a rise in the urban class population. The surplus of food in Europe also led to a decrease in the frequency of famine during agricultural growth. These developments also began not only fueling the Industrial Revolution, but also changing Europe's social structure greatly. From 1650 to 1800, these developments, such as crop rotation and enclosure movement, increased food production and created a landless labor class, which fueled and supported the Industrial Revolution's rise. These developments transformed European society by consolidating land ownership among wealthy elites and shifting Europe toward a market-heavy economy, changing the social structure and economic practices of Europe forever. These changes in agricultural efficiency also unintentionally turned rural and urban societies into industrial economies, like a ripple effect we still feel today. Cities grew largely, the working class expanded, and the food and safety and security improved. The traditional village life was changed for both the better and for the worse. Peasants gained a surplus of food, money from farming, and healthy livestock. However, they also lost access to the common lands on manors, and the creation of a landless workforce affected their jobs, unintentionally creating a rural proletariat. Hopefully those brain cows are milked. Thank you for watching.